And we're here not just because of Superstorm Sandy, but also to bring attention to the issue of climate change. And we want our leaders and just people in the community to know that climate change is real. It's here, it's man-made, and that we need to do something.
Who runs a forecasting business and is a lecturer at the Hebrew University's Department of Earth Science, said a striking aspect of the whole thing was the severe and prolonged cold in the upper atmosphere. A big picture shift that indicated the Atlantic Ocean was no longer having the moderating effect on weather in the Middle East and Europe
and when we think about what's going on in the General Assembly here locally, not even nationally, but in our own state, the attack on regulations that are controlling and helping to keep our air clean. No more of that. Would you agree? No more? No more.
Water and water quality is very much affected by climate changes. They've been, the climate changes that have been seen down in Coweta is that in recent years, and it's only because they have, I believe, an 80-year record, can't do this with measurements you just made the year before. They've got an 80-year record, and they see that precip is clumping in groups of about 3 years. So we have wet periods that are wetter than we've known. And we have dry periods that are drier than we've known.
Deployed with the American Red Cross through Hurricane Sandy. Little did I know what I was getting myself into. So there I was in Manhattan, in Times Square, deploying to the front lines of these affected areas, doing sheltering. The people in New York City, I don't know how they made it through. Maybe they didn't make it through.
One of the things that impressed me in our neighboring country is lots of places I saw signs referring to climate change. We went up to Cypress Point, which overlooks Vancouver, and we could see the fog that was caused a lot by the automobiles. And they even, their government even had a sign that acknowledged that fog.
I want to say one thing. In September, I attended a leadership training that was organized by Vice President Al Gore's organization called the Climate Reality Project. And he actually participated in the training. And one of the things that he said was when he wrote his book and when the movie came out, there was part of the movie where he said that maybe one day New York City will actually be underwater, or parts of it will. And he said at that time when he mentioned that, people thought it was really funny, and a lot of climate deniers thought that that would never happen. And he said, well, when Superstorm Sandy happened, what he said actually came to pass. And it was something that he never thought would happen quite that soon, but it actually did happen. And so that was kind of an interesting thing because it happened so soon after the movie came out. So I just want you guys to check out climatereality.org, which is a website that has a lot of information on climate change, and you can get a lot of videos and just information, and it's Vice President Gore's.
Something that we need to be aware of also is what's happening in Asheville, where their water system is being tried to be taken over and out of the hands of the local community. And as we have filthier water, as we have more climate change and shortage, this is going to be continuing to happen all over, where there's going to be like corporate takeovers for our water system. So I think we need to be really aware and try to protect our systems and what we have and keep it local. And a lot of people don't realize it can happen in a blink of an eye too. So be aware when you vote what's going on, not only in your county, in your town, but surrounding areas. And try to support
that
them.
New York City had thought about and knew to do, like move the trains. They couldn't move the tunnels, but they could get the trains out of the way and stuff like that. So things like that are things we're going to have to start thinking about. How can we adapt, in terms of water supply and the biological world. Maybe I'm a climate change refugee because I'm from Charleston, and that's just been too hot for me to live there for a long time.
To ensure
maybe I started.
this movement is to make sure the curriculum in the schoolhouses address it. Anything we can do with young children to instill in them this thought and do it throughout their school career. When they become adults, they'll be much more in tune to it. As I look around, I see all the gray heads here, just like mine. And it's not going to impact us in the long run, but it's going to impact them. And we need to make sure that the legislators and the board of education members and those folks that have the authority to make changes
said made me remember stories I heard when I first moved up here about 15 years ago, up to Highlands. And they would talk about how they snow skated. I couldn't think of it because I'm from Texas and that wasn't a word I'd use. They on Lake Ravenel, they're right in the middle of Highlands, and they snow skated every single winter, and they always had snow. And they brought these old skates out. Remember a couple of years ago when the water did freeze? At least up in Cashers it did, and we got a lot of snow. That was the first time since '93 that anything had frozen like that. And they brought all of these old water snow ice skates. Thank you. Ice is still such a strange thing. They brought them out to let people use and sold them to everybody for $1 a pair. And I mean, the point is that they had enough for the whole town to rent and skate on this pond, this small lake up in Highlands. And that's how much the weather has
A little
changed.
bit of common sense for those who deny climate change. We got a lot of stuff here. So let's say after the vigil, just leave it. Don't throw it in the trash can, just leave it. And then every other group that comes here for a rally, don't take up your stuff, just leave it. And in a few weeks, we're gonna look like some of these third world countries that have trash everywhere. Common sense will tell you, take care of your planet. This is where we live. So that's why we have trash cans. So that's why we have all these rules and regulations about environmental things. This is our planet. We got to take care of it. So it's the same as on a small scale, if we leave our trash out here, it's the same on a big scale in the global economy with our CFCs, with our carbon, all that stuff. It's the same principle. And so as we talk to these anti-climate change people, well, let's talk some common sense and tell them, look, we got a planet. We live here. Let's take care of it.
Beautiful, spacious skies, for ember waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.